To preserve the scene and relieve a community service officer who was standing there initially.
Okay. Thank you, Officer Schneider. I don't have any questions beyond that.
Thank you. Any cross, Mr. Brooks?
Yes. Officer Schneider, it would be fair to say from the video footage that was shown that you were standing directly next to Officer Butcher, is that correct?
That is correct.
For any reason, would you have, being that you were so close next to him, not heard the same things that he heard?
Objection, I think that calls for
Grounds.
Calls for speculation. It's sustained. Next question.
How long before you saw the approaching vehicle?
I heard radio traffic about it going past the barricades, and I would say it was a couple seconds later that we saw it coming down the street.
Did you observe anyone being struck at that time?
I did not.
Did you observe anyone being struck after the vehicle passed you?
I did not.
Would it be fair to say from the video footage that was shown that the vehicle passed you in maybe a second, if that?
A second to 2 seconds, yes.
Do you think that would be enough time to get a clear description of who was driving the vehicle?
Yes, I do.
And why do you believe that?
Because I saw the driver very clearly.
You saw the driver very clearly in 1 second.
Yes, sir.
And do you recall if the driver had hair?
I do.
Do you recall if the driver was wearing a hat?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall anything that the driver may have been wearing?
No, I don't.
Do you recall seeing anyone in the back seat?
I couldn't see the back seat from my position.
Why could you not see the back seat?
Because there's front seats in the way.
Were there any tinting to the vehicle that you saw?
Not that I saw.
So you saw no tinted windows at all on the vehicle?
I do not recall seeing tinted windows.
Would it be fair to say from the video that there was a barricade set up at the cross street of Buckley?
Yes.
Would it be also fair to say that you couldn't turn down Buckley Street because of the barricade?
The street was barricaded.
Could you make a turn down the street that was barricaded?
You could make a turn, but it was barricaded.
How can you make a turn on a barricaded street? How would you be able to do that?
If a vehicle were to slow down, the barricade could be moved.
So a vehicle would actually have to stop and then make the turn.
That's correct.
Were there any law enforcement officers posted at the barricade?
On that side of the street near Buckley, we had a reserve officer, I believe.
Do you recall if any one of those officers or officer attempted to stop the vehicle?
I couldn't tell you about that.
Was there any report of the officer that was standing at that barricade to stop the vehicle?
Again, I couldn't tell you about that.
So to the best of your knowledge, only you and Officer Butchering attempted to stop the vehicle?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And there were other officers present?
The other individual who was present is not a sworn patrol officer.
Were they law enforcement?
No, they're considered a reserve officer.
Were they wearing any gear that may have identified them as an officer?
I don't recall what that officer or that reserve officer was wearing.
Can we show exit 17 again? Or exhibit, sorry, excuse me, exhibit 17?
You want it published or just shown to the witness?
I want it shown to the witness.
Permission granted.
Actually, can we show it to the whole court?
Permission granted, it's been received.
Well, before you play it, can you pause it? Before you play it, would it be fair to say that at that intersection that has the red light facing towards the camera, that there is, in fact, someone who appears to be law enforcement standing right there?
Objection vague.
Sustained.
Grounds. Can you,
Rephrase.
would it be fair to say that someone standing at that intersection that appears to be wearing the same police vest attire that you are wearing?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Your Honor, Mr. Brooks can use the touch screen on his monitor as well, correct?
Correct. I'm gonna overrule the objection. I think what he was asking is clear enough, so he may answer.
There is an individual on the Buckley side of the intersection wearing a high-res traffic vest.
Is it similar in any way to the vest that you are wearing?
It appears to be so, yes.
So would it be fair to say that the appearance of them wearing the same attire as you, that they would be easily identified as law enforcement?
I would go so far as to say that they would be at least highly visible to people, yes.
Would someone who's not in the law enforcement field possibly for any reason mistake them as law enforcement?
Possibly, yes.
Can you play it just for just a couple of seconds so we can get a clear look at the individual that I'm referring to?
Exactly how many seconds, Mr. Brooks?
I don't consent to being called that name, but 2, maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
You can pause at the 3-second mark, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Can you go back a second?
Judge, it's not possible to jump back in
1 second.
1-second increments.
Go back to the beginning, please.
Right there.
Ask your question.
Do you know that individual right there?
I don't recall who that was, no.
Did you see them at any time attempt to stop the vehicle or redirect the vehicle?
I did not observe that myself, no.
You can take the exhibit down.
You're done with this exhibit?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You can take it down, ma'am.
Can you put up exhibit 18 for the court?
You just want this presented, not played at this moment? Just confirming with you.
I'm probably gonna play it too
We'll get it up first.
for the entire court.
For the record, exhibit 18 is on the screens. Do you want it played, Mr. Brooks? Do you have a question at this point?
I want it played, Your Honor, if I may.
The whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, permission granted.
Pause it right there. Would it be fair to say that that was just a horn that was heard?
No, I don't hear a horn.
You don't hear a horn.
I do not hear a horn.
Can we start that from the beginning?
For the record, Mr. Brooks,
When did you have a
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name, Your Honor, nor do I identify by that name.
The defendant has asked the video to be stopped. It was stopped at 4 seconds in. He's requested that it be replayed. Are you going to have the whole thing replayed, or do you want it stopped again at 4 seconds?
Maybe around that same point.
I'll wait till you say stop then.
Okay.
We'll make a record of it. Go ahead.
Oh my God!
Pause it. Would it be fair to say that that was not just a horn that was heard on this video?
I will stick with my original answer on that.
So your original answer would be that you did not just hear a horn on this video that was being played.
That's correct.
And for the record, it was stopped at 6 seconds.
So would it be any reason that anyone else would have heard a horn?
objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Grounds.
Sustained calls for speculation on the part of this witness.
Did you at any time get a chance to read the report by Officer Butcher, who was standing right next to you during this event?
I did not read his report.
Did you have any conversation with him about what he may have observed or heard that evening?
Can you clarify what you mean?
Did you have any conversation with Officer Butcher about what he may have observed or heard on that evening?
I believe that the evening that later, after everything had calmed down, we had talked for a little bit.
Did he state to you that he had heard a horn beeping at any time during your conversation?
Objection, hearsay, move to start
Grounds.
the question.
Grounds.
Oh. Sustained calls for hearsay.
Do you recall what the conversation was about when you talked that evening?
I can't recall specifics, no.
Did you in any way talk about what had happened that evening at the parade?
Yeah, it would be about the parade, but I can't, again, tell you specifics of what we talked about.
You don't recall?
I've already answered that.
But you're sure that you had some talks about what you may have seen?
Objection, repetitive.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained. Next question, please.
Just so we're clear for the record, from your recollection, would it be fair to say that Officer Butcher saw the approaching vehicle before you did?
Objection,
Grounds.
speculation.
Sustained.
Grounds.
It calls for speculation on the part of this witness. Next question.
At what point did you see the vehicle? Once it was past Officer Butcher or before it had passed him?
I saw the vehicle coming from the White Rock location, so it was before the vehicle had even approached Officer Butron's location.
Any reason why you didn't move to attempt to stop the vehicle when Officer Butcher did?
Yes, we oftentimes in our line of work have people, meaning no ill will, just disregard police barricades and other things. So initially I didn't know if the vehicle was being driven by somebody that was just simply distracted or lost or senile. I had no idea.
So it would be fair to say that at the time you had no idea what was going on with the vehicle and why it was there?
At the time, what I knew was that someone had radioed that a car had disregarded our barricades to keep the parade route closed off.
And you heard this on the radio, correct?
On police radio, yes.
So did you hear a car or did you hear an SUV?
I don't recall the exact words that were used. It was a vehicle.
Would it be fair to say that you just said that you heard a car over the radio?
I don't recall the exact words.
Would it be fair to say that it is extremely hard to compare a car with an SUV?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Would you ever mistake a car in an SUV?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled. She may answer.
I think I'm pretty good at knowing the difference.
So when you heard the radio call, were you expecting a car or SUV?
I was expecting a vehicle, red in color, to be coming my direction.
Would it be fair to say that you, before didn't state the color of the vehicle that you were expecting?
I think the question's vague, Your Honor, as
Objection,
to
grounds.
when she may or may
Grounds.
not.
Mr. Brooks, hold on. Let her state the objection.
Question's vague as to when she may or may not have indicated the color of the car, Your Honor.
Grounds.
I'll sustain the objection. Please rephrase. It's sustained as to the form of the question.
At any time during the radio report, was there any report of the color of the vehicle, as you say, in the report that you heard over the radio?
The exact color of the vehicle over the radio, I do not recall hearing. I know that I saw a red SUV coming from White Rock.
Would it be fair to say that you heard the radio call before you saw the vehicle?
Absolutely, I heard it before I saw it.
So would it be fair to say that you couldn't have known what the color of the vehicle would be and what vehicle was being referred to?
There was only one vehicle on the parade route, from what I saw.
Were there any radio reports that the vehicle had struck anyone at that time that you heard?
No, I didn't hear anyone say that the vehicle had struck anyone.
Was there any reports at that time over the radio that you heard of a description of who may have been driving the vehicle?
No, I don't recall a description coming out over the radio prior to me seeing the vehicle come across my path.
So would it be fair to say that the radio report was pretty vague?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Were there any reports that you know of, rather by radio or from people who were present in your area that you were, that they may have heard honking from the vehicle that approached?
Objection, speculation.
Grounds.
Overruled. The way it was phrased, he asked if she had any information, so she may answer.
I don't have any information about honking.
Can you recall about what time you saw the approaching vehicle?
I don't know the exact time, no.
Were you injured in any way by the vehicle?
I was not injured.
So it would be fair to say that you haven't filed a claim in this matter, correct?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Overruled. She may answer.
I have not filed a claim for this.
So it would be also fair to state that you are not an injured party in this matter, correct?
Objection, asked and answered.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Could you state for the record who subpoenaed you to testify in this matter today?
The state?
And when you say the state, who are you referring to exactly?
The state of Wisconsin?
To the best of your knowledge, being in law enforcement for some time, have you ever had any interaction with the state whatsoever?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant, vague.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Did you physically talk to the state about testifying here this morning?
Objection,
Grounds.
vague and irrelevant.
Grounds.
Do you mean to ask her if she spoke with the DA's office?
Did she speak to the plaintiff?
Sustained.